messages.
When it comes to everything fantasy football, you have to ask one question. Don't you deserve a fighting chance? And now, welcome to Fighting Chance Live with your hosts, Kevin Tompkins and Scott Fishbowl 9 winner, Gary Haddow.
Everybody, welcome into Fighting Chance Live. I am Kevin Tompkins from FightingChanceFantasy.com. Of course, with me every week is my partner in crime. Below me, Gary Haddow. Gary, how are you, my man?
I'm doing fantastic. It's always nice to be here on a Wednesday night, break up the monotony of the week, and always even better when we get to do a little bit of mock draft.
Absolutely. It really is like the perfect way to break up a week because, you got your crap, it's Monday, but you're always I'm looking forward to Wednesday and you're like, all right, I can sit back, kick back. It divides up the week, after tonight, Thursday, Friday, then you got the weekend. Boom. It's perfect. It's perfect timing for the show. And we got a mock draft, and I can't wait to get into that. But first, let's introduce our guest. You may have seen him on the Podathon getting plucked from Salito. Chase Vernon. Chase, how are you, my friend?
What is going on, guys? I'm so stoked for this. I'm so ready. I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's do this.
Woo, woo.
Woo!
I am super excited. Super excited to have you. Super excited we can get this mock going. Why don't you tell everybody where we can find what you're doing on the World Wide Web?
So before I get into where you can find me, I want to talk about a program that I'm building up. And we're actually teaching kids with special needs how to play fantasy football. And I'm really, really excited to announce it. We're doing some yards are better than no yards. And it's just to get everybody involved. I mean, with this whole, COVID thing going on in the situation, a lot of these kids with special needs have issues without, I guess, interacting with other kids on developing personally. Yeah. So what we've done is we've looked into different avenues of doing this, and I connected with a few different people in the area, and we were just going to make it a local thing. We were going to meet up with them on a Monday afternoon and actually get involved with them personally and teach them in person how to play fantasy football. Thing is the COVID thing is still around, as you guys know. So we decided to actually do it remotely and still do every Monday and interact with them, go over injuries and, who to start and trades they might want to make and players that they love, work the free agent pool on obviously a very, very, simple level. But we wanted to make sure that they understood it while still having fun with it. So we're going to be doing that remotely still on Mondays. You can find it at some yards are better than no yards, or on Twitter at some yards. But I would love to find more people that would want to interact and help out with this. The biggest thing though is we just need people who know people that have special needs, because right now the teachers don't have access to who their students are going to be. Like the camps and stuff are already over. So we need people that know people that might be interested. So if you know anybody, please reach out to me. It's at FF_intervention. You can search me on Twitter with Chase Vernon. I'm on Facebook as well. So look me up for my podcast and stuff. You can find me at Fantasy Intervention. And
that's awesome.
Yeah,
very cool.
I definitely want to get involved with that, so we'll talk about that certainly, because that's just fantastic, fantastic cause, and getting kids involved with that certainly. So it's we're getting down to that. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into the mock.
Dive in. Can I go ahead and claim Christian McCaffrey, although I'm the 110?
Yes.
We'll see what happens, but I just want to ask you guys one thing before we start this mock. Are you all ready to make the ultimate sacrifice to draft NFL players who may or may not opt out tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the greatest reward one can achieve, internet clout for a couple of hours on Twitter? Are you ready?
I'm ready to win this fake football draft mock thing. Let's do it.
Dude, I told you, people are scared, man. They're already scared to go up against me, all right? It is what it is. They didn't want to turn it into a real league like Kevin suggested, so we have to do a fake mock draft because they're just scared. But it's okay. I understand, guys. I'm ready to do this. Let's go.
I understand completely, but you know what? The future is bright. I've got my shades on too. Thank you to the
let's go
San
and throw these
Diego
on.
Board
I
of
meant to throw
Tourism
these on
for that.
beforehand.
So for anybody at home, just not able to see our board or anything, so it's just going to be a PPR league, 12 team, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, a standard flex, and then we'll just do 5 bench spots. So it's going to be
take Christian McCaffrey already, bro. That's just a terrible pick.
This mock is over. It's over.
Game over.
Finders keepers.
All right, you win. Finders keepers.
Gary.
Oh God, these things can't get over my headphones.
Kevin, what are you doing here?
You really want to know?
Yes. These rankings are so weird. You're going CH at 103. You're just
you did not just do that.
So here's the thing. I have 0 exposure to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I just want to see what's going to happen.
You're in good shape until tonight.
You know what? In this fake football league, I'm really, really behind the 8 ball right now. So
it's okay. The draft will get caught up in like the next.
I needed for that pick. I needed these sunglasses.
Hey, by the way,
the future
you
is
guys
bright.
picked the perfect time to bring me on because this is my life with podcasting. I live right next to the largest naval base in the United States, and they have jets that decided to do random flyovers based off time. So you guys picked the perfect time, which I can never predict, to have me on because you guys will be hearing jets in the background from time to time.
That's fantastic. You should just say it's your excitement level that you can hear. It's palpable.
It's actually my erection. It makes noise, so you know.
It's my genes.
I need to back up these sunglasses with another pair here. Holy shit!
Wow, Alvin Kamara went above Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah,
that's the CH.
I get it.
Yeah, who knows about CH? I gave up on that one.
I mean, I get it, Kamara over Elliott, because you got to talk about regression, positive for Kamara. You can make that case, but Elliott's just so safe. Yeah. It's really a coin flip for me. I've got Elliott over Kamara, but I don't hate it. It's it is what it is.
So, what do you all's take on this year with CeeDee Lamb? Like, how do you guys think that CeeDee Lamb will actually produce?
I'm never really one to buy into rookies, and especially when that rookie goes into a system that already has like a de facto number 1. I think that he'll have a good season, and it's not as if you're spending up like a ton of draft capital on him, right? Especially in a redraft league. I definitely think he's the future, and he's going to be one of. I mean, it seems like right now he could be one of the best wide receivers that we've seen in quite some time. But I don't know. In redraft, rookie wide receivers to me are just useless, except for very late.
Yeah, as far as Lamb goes, I think there's a place for all 3. We've seen a Mike McCarthy, led team produce 3 wide receivers, but in Green Bay. So I think, yeah, absolutely. So you're looking at a guy who probably has the most talent on that team as far as the wide receivers go. I would say in Lamb, you're putting up at him against a slot corner. I mean, good luck. I honestly think Amari Cooper might be that odd guy out at maybe as soon as the end of this year. We saw Gallup had a great year, but I think Lamb's going to assert himself this year. I mean, I think all three of those guys can be top 30 at least wide receivers in fantasy.
The thing with Amari Cooper is like he still has 2 years left on his contract where he's guaranteed money before they cut him.
Yep.
But the biggest thing is the schedule this year, right? Like if you look at Amari Cooper's schedule, he's got Jalen Ramsey, he's got Shaquille Griffin, he's got Denzel Ward, he's got Patrick Peterson, who had a overall above average year from the past few that we've seen. Right, he has Darius Slay, who shut him out last year. He's got the Steelers defense as a whole, which we all know is monsters, right? He's got the Ravens defense with Marcus Peterson. He's got Richard Sherman and the 49ers defense. And he's got the Bengals defense, who just acquired Mackenzie Alexander and not Xavier Rhodes, but the other guy, who shut him out last year as well.
Trey Waynes, yeah.
Trey Waynes. And then, of course, in the championship, you have Darius Slay once again. Dude, that schedule is brutal. Like,
Yeah.
like he's got Washington twice, of course, which is, obviously an advantageous matchup. And he's got the Giants one time because they play them again in week 17. Outside of that, that schedule is not sexy.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but I think that the one positive that you have is, I mean, Dak's going to be able to spread the ball. And if, CD does start to show up, then at what point does some of the coverage start to go a little bit more towards him? I mean, I think it's more of the offense this year should just be ridiculously explosive, having that additional piece, but I'm not sure that.
And then even Jarwin, if he can assert himself, then
I'm not an Amari Cooper fan this year, and I think that CeeDee Lamb performing in the slot for Mike McCarthy offense could be through the roof. I love CeeDee Lamb, my first ever wide receiver rookie that I've ever loved.
Yeah.
So, all right, my decision right now, I'm sitting here between Miles Sanders and Nick Chubb, and I'm telling the whole world this while they're probably listening. I don't really care. I think that Nick Chubb, if you could build a running back in an offense in a laboratory built for this offense, it would be Nick Chubb, which is why I'm considering him. However, dude, Miles Sanders, man, like getting the full workload.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got to go Miles Sanders. I'm taking him.
You'll never hear me and Gary, get off of Miles Sanders. We're both fans, so.
We're both on board with him. Nick Chubb is faded a little bit for me just because of the Hunt thing. He was, I think, on my bust last week for the RBs. Not because I think he's going to be terrible, but I just don't think he's going to give back the value that we hope he would be. I got to ask about one other player. We haven't really had a chance, So at 106, Joe Mixon went right after Zeke, before Michael Thomas, which was an auto pick, and then Dalvin Cook. I took Derrick Henry at 1-9. I'm always going to be happy to do that. I think he just has so much upside. But Joe Mixon, it's just somebody that I don't find myself taking as much. I know that the talent is there, but I actually think that the offense is going to be good. I don't know. There's just something about Joe Mixon. I don't know if he has that ceiling to be the top 3 that, we think he does because we've seen it in spurts.
Oh, Nick Chubb barely made it back to me. All right, so for my take is I've never liked Joe Mixon. I've never been a fan of Joe Mixon. I think he's been overrated every single year. However, with Joe Mixon, this year with a healthy offensive line, with Joe Burrow, moving forward, I think that this could be the year where he he's already kind of broken out to an extent, but he could exceed expectations, especially with how comfortable Joe Burrow is passing to the running back. We've seen it with CH, who I obviously don't like, but either way, Joe Mixon could have that upside.
Yeah.
This is the first year I'm behind it, though. Like, I don't love Joe Mixon. I just think that this could be the year where his situation actually pans out. I think I owned him in one league over the past 4 redraft years or 3 redraft years. So, and I'm in hundreds of leagues over that period of time.
Of course.
So you're back up here, Chase, 203.
They snagged my guy, man.
Yeah, Chubb just got Petey sniped you. So you going little RB robust here? Or?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to be honest with you. I'm going to go ahead and go with Aaron Jones just because I think they run him into the ground this year to the best of their ability. See, Aaron Jones' volatility wasn't because he's a bad running back or wasn't because he's dependent on a certain situation or another. It's because he didn't run the right offense. They run a wide run zone scheme.
Yep.
So they didn't run he wasn't running properly. If you go to next gen stats, you'll see he was zigging back and forth in the games where he got pulled out. So he was going back and forth behind the line of scrimmage in the games that he got pulled out. And in the games that he actually played well in, you don't see him make one cut backwards or forwards behind the offensive line. So they don't like Aaron Jones. I think he's going to be a free agent. I think he lands with Arizona or Atlanta or
we just talked about this last
Miami
night actually, a little bit. But yeah, Debro came out. I think it was in the open bar. He was saying, and then you commented on it. Aaron Jones to Atlanta. I mean, that just feels like a great fit, and just that would probably vault him up to a first round price.
Yeah, and he's still very, very talented running back. He just doesn't
Yeah.
fit the system right. So it's a situation where I want to use him this year, and I believe that he's going to succeed in the future. However, it's not like he's not a guy that I absolutely love, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think that he's extremely useful in redraft leagues. I'm going with Aaron Jones at the 203.
Completely agree. Nice
Thank you.
touchdown floor.
Yep, and then Gary smashed Austin Eckler within a second of that pick.
I almost hit Austin Eckler. That was going to be my pick if it wasn't.
And honestly, I'm like more trepidatious about Austin Eckler the more I think about him, just because of what's that offense going to look like. But yeah, I mean, we've seen what he did with Rivers. And honestly, I can't help but have that picture of him that he was just recently posted to social. Dude is jacked. I'm sure most running backs are, but he looks like he's ready to try and conquer the world again. And give him more carries, maybe some less catches. But I mean, the dude's just super efficient. I'm very excited to see what happens here.
Bro, have you seen me? Come on.
I have, and I was like, man, do I take Chase Vernon or Austin Eckler? I went with Austin. I'm hoping Vernon falls to me.
Oh man, I tried to play football 1 year, and I was like probably 5'3", like 100 pounds soaking wet, and there was a 240-pound fullback that just hit me when I went to go blitz up the middle. Ooh. Yeah, that didn't work out too well. So I decided to talk about football instead of play it. Although I do play flag.
That's awesome.
I hear you. So yeah, this is all right now, pretty chalky, other than maybe Mixon.
I like Mixon.
Other than CEH at 3.
Oh my God! If you go into 100 home leagues, his average ADP will be
at the third. He's going to go like 5 earlier.
No, I'm not talking about like industry leagues. I'm talking you go into Joe Schmo in his basement. His average ADP in 100 home leagues. 103 and 106.
Yeah, that guy's also jacking off to a poster of Jenny McCarthy on his ceiling from 1990.
Who wouldn't?
Like, what was Saquon Barkley's ADP as a rookie? Was it like 7, 8, 9? Was he top 5? I don't even know if he was top 5.
I think the biggest shocker was Zeke Elliott, man. Zeke was the biggest
out of the first round.
Yeah, dude. I mean, well, he smashed. He finished up as the leading running back in the league that year, right?
Who?
Zeke.
Yeah, but I mean, what was he drafted as a rookie?
I think he was the first
play a lot of redraft, so I can't remember.
Dude, I don't even trust any of these websites out here. Like I saw Paris Campbell as like the 15th round pick last year on one of the websites, and I was like, "There's no way that he was a 15th round pick." Everybody loved Paris Campbell last year, right? Am I wrong?
Just depends.
He was a hot starter, yeah.
Dude, he was way higher than 15th though, right?
15th round? Nah, I don't know. He's rookie wide receiver.
Probably 12,
going that much
12, 13-ish. So I got sniped like the last 3 picks because I would have liked at least Mahomes. I was going to try to stack a little bit. And then Hill went, and then Kelsey went. So I'm like, shit. So, yeah, I'm right now, the running backs I don't like at this price point. You're talking about like Connor Fournette, guys like Jonathan Taylor. I'm not in on the second round prices for those guys. I'm looking at wide receivers, and you've got guys that I'll think about. Hopkins. I'm not super high on him. I like Godwin more than Hopkins, at least this year. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, and I'm gonna go George Kittle. I just want to at least have a positional strength here with Kittle, who can be the tight end one here. Certainly with Debo out, you got to figure they're gonna target him a little bit more. I really like him to be kind of that. He's interchangeable with Kelsey. Kelsey's more consistent, a little bit more durable, but not a bad pick at the end of the second.
But Travis Kelce doesn't have Jordan Reed stealing all the targets and all the touchdowns.
Dude, Jordan Reed's gonna obviously overtake
Completely.
as the tight end one in San Francisco.
Which
Let me
I
ask you about Tyreek
made-
Hill though, because my strategy for the first 3 rounds, maybe 4 rounds, I don't like to take risks. I want guaranteed points, and I'll take the upside of players later in drafts. You just said that you would take Tyreek Hill, who has been a boom or bust candidate. He's only produced double-digit fantasy points in 50% of his games over the past 2 years while he's, actually played. What's your, I guess, thinking behind going with Tyreek Hill?
As far as Tyreek Hill, I'm really looking to kind of stack where I can. He's pretty volatile as a player, but at the end of the day, he's going to get his. You just have to kind of deal with those valleys, but you're going to get those peaks, those week winning peaks. So Tyreek Hill, strictly on the field, because off the field, that's a whole another galaxy. But yeah, I do like Tyreek Hill. I think he's with Michael Thomas. He's with Adams as far as those just league winning guys. Those 3 are on a tier for me.
But even in the year that he produces the wide receiver 1, he's still only producing 50% of the weeks.
But so that was what, 2 or 3 years ago. I think
2018,
2 years ago.
right? Yeah,
that was Mahomes' breakout year.
Yep.
And then last year there were injuries. And then I think that Mahomes is going to set the world on fire. I personally think he's going to have a better season than 2018.
Well, he has to.
Nothing to back that up by.
Compete with Lamar.
Yeah, but I just think like everything fell into place. Getting CEH, having their nucleus back at all their positions, having a good defense, but also just the rest of the NFL is just catching up more and more and trying to do everything they can to be as explosive as possible. So I think that Hill has gotten better as a receiver, and that he is even more integrated into their offense and getting more consistent targets. And if you take out the injuries, that I think he has the possibility to, be a little bit less boom or bust, but with everything just elevating up, a few notches. Plus, he could easily be the wide receiver 1 on any week and any season.
I'm going to revisit this after we get to Mecole Hardman, but yeah.
So I'm back up here, 303. Now I contemplated Lamar Jackson. I really did, but I just don't know if I can stomach a lot of that early. So I'm going to go with Juju here over Mike Evans.
Interesting.
Yeah. If we get Ben Roethlisberger, where that offense is humming again, it's going to be through Juju. It's not going to be as much through the running game as it's been with Steelers teams in the past. It's going to be through Juju. They've got all sorts of weapons there with Deontay Johnson. Now they've got Ebron. Now they've got Chase Claypool. Hopefully they can get a full season or something close to it out of Connor. So, I really like Juju. I think he's very volatile as far as his ADP, because he can go as far as, the beginning of the 3rd down to maybe the beginning of the 4th. But he's a top 12 guy for me. I think he's really, going to insert himself. I think he's going to be more in the slot, certainly than he was last year. Last year was just, you could kind of throw that one out the window.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but I mean, obviously with the injury going to Ben Roethlisberger and having to have surgery, but I mean, Juju has that upside.
Well, I look at, if the Steelers were so concerned about Ben's, elbow or shoulder or whatever, the arm, they would have gotten a backup. They would have got somebody better than Duck Hodges or Mason Rudolph. They would have gotten a Jameis Winston, something, at least a contingency should something happen. So I think they're pretty confident in Ben. I mean, we saw him throwing on a Twitter video. I mean, what is that? But, I think they're pretty confident, and I'm fine with the Steelers' weapons where they are. And, Ben's just a screaming value. I mean, in any draft right now.
He really is. I mean, he always has been, to be honest with you. Yeah. The past 5 years, he's been a value year after year after year, and I don't really understand it up until this year. Where I mean, dude, if I took him above guys like, I don't know, Cam Newton, Matthew Stafford, I'd be a little nervous.
Yeah, it's fair. Absolutely. I mean, and
Stafford makes me nervous too, by the way. But I think he's a little safer than Big Ben is.
Yeah, I'd say. And yeah, Cam, we'll get to him, but I mean, where do you have him in the quarterback rankings, or where would you be comfortable? Is he in fringe top 12 for you, Chase, or where do you slot him in?
I messed up the other night after Cam Newton actually signed with the Patriots and put in a $35 waiver bid in what I thought was a super flex league, because I'm in so many freaking leagues. Turns out it was a single quarterback league.
Hey-o.
I finally dropped him today in order to pick up Gary Jennings. And obviously that being single quarterback, I normally stream quarterbacks anyways. But if it was a 2-quarterback league, like, he's a borderline top 12 quarterback in my opinion. And I think that pays huge dividends to N'Keal Harry, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
So N'Keal Harry, Mohamed Sanu, even Julian Edelman this year are extremely valuable to me, not to mention Asiasi and possibly what's his name? Keenan?
Dalton Keene, yeah.
Yeah, Dalton King. All those guys could be options. We really don't know where that offense is going to go. But I think that no matter what, you're going to have valuable options from that offense come out, just like we do almost every single year outside of this past year. So yeah, I know, right?
I love it.
CH at 103, Jesus. So anyways,
I'm bringing the controversy, people. Come on.
I am a huge, I guess, proponent of Cam Newton being in the top 15, but then you got to figure out who doesn't end up in the top 15. Like, who isn't in that tier? And that's tough to say because quarterbacks are getting so much closer in value right now. Quarterbacks are they've always been very, very close, but I feel like the value is getting so much higher, especially in dynasty leagues, where they're almost getting undervalued to a point just because of the volatility. That makes any sense.
No, absolutely. I mean, you're talking points, single points between all these guys. You start getting outside that top 12 and you're getting into guys like Jared Goff and you're getting into Baker Mayfield and, you're getting Aaron Rodgers, you're getting to all these guys and you're not even taking quarterback. You're just taking offensive situations. Like, I would love to take, I'm totally happy with Jared Goff. They're going to throw the ball 600 times. So he's going to get volume. I mean,
600.
It's going to be close.
No,
if it ain't 600, it's going to be between, I'd say, 575 and 600. I mean, with how crappy that defense is, other than
how crappy their quarterback is. Ooh.
Yeah,
right.
Dodgers fan, whatever.
I'm on the Allen Robinson train. I'm on it.
Right there with you, buddy.
He's going to be awesome.
I love Allen Robinson.
Yeah, especially where you can get him in drafts. It just feels to me Kevin and I both pretty much know who my next pick will probably be. And honestly, it's, at this point in the draft in the wide receiver, like 10 to 15, it's why I always feel comfortable going RB robust. And I'm almost always going to go RB, depending on pretty much anywhere I'm at in the draft, maybe other than the 12th spot. That's one of the few places where I'll try and alternate. Otherwise, you just get put into such a box. But so I actually now have Derrick Henry, Eckler, and Carson. And I have no problem with that because this is exactly where my tier ends of running backs and where my favorite tier of wide receivers comes in. And that starts with Allen Robinson.
Mine too. I love Chris Godwin, but outside of that, I like to wait till this point. I mean, but still, I had Aaron Jones far over that. If I drafted the 1-8, I would probably take Chris Godwin over any of those running backs. But outside of that, I have nobody. Like, I have Michael Thomas, I've got Chris Godwin, and maybe Devontae Adams, possibly. And then below that, it's everybody else.
Wow, you have Godwin up in the tier with those two, and potentially not even with Adams, despite the fact that Adams is the front runner to lead the league in targets.
Yeah, but it's the Titans offense. Like, you're talking about the Titans offense in Green Bay, where volume isn't king. And when we look at the red zone targets that Adams got last year without having Alan Lazard there for a full season, who, by the way, I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers has butt sex with on a regular basis. I mean, you're not allowing enough red zone targets to get allocated to other players. And I understand they didn't draft other guys, but he can't continue to target Devontae Adams, who, by the way, didn't see significant targets within the 5. All of his red zone targets, or the majority of them, came between the 10-yard line and the 20-yard line for first downs in order to get them into scoring position because of the way that the offense is run. And people don't realize that. Like, people are sitting there talking about how, he gets tons of red zone targets. He didn't get scoring opportunities on the red zone targets. He wasn't getting back shoulder fades like Jordy Nelson used to get. He was getting, comeback routes and screen routes in order to get a first down, in order to get them in scoring position.
Yep, absolutely fair. As a Packer fan, I'm done chasing this isn't the offense of 2011.
Yes.
You can throw out James Jones, in your lineup and feel good about it because he's going to get double-digit touchdowns every year. No, it's you're chasing 50 targets if you're lucky. You're chasing Lazard. You're not chasing Funchess anymore. He opted out. So there you go. You're going to chase a CFL guy in Reggie Beggleton. If you're looking, So, I mean, you got to look at quality of target too, for Adams, because you got to figure that. I mean, nobody else is broken out other than Aaron Jones. So right now it's a two-man team. So somebody's got to step up, whether it's Kumaro, whether it's Sternberger. I mean,
Kumaro started to see some red zone targets towards the tail end of it.
Yeah, and then MVS is going to drop everything with it, thrown at him. Equinemius St. Brown. There's a lot of wild cards in that offense, but for Adam's sake, he's got to hope somebody can at least. It probably is going to be Lazard. Somebody's got to break out or at least become a decent target if people want to say that Adams is a threat to be. In that Michael Thomas range of receiver, because you got to figure he's going to get bracketed to holy hell. This year they're not going to let it. I mean, Adams is an otherworldly talent, so certainly, but I
just had so much trouble picking Amari Cooper because we had earlier and just being like, man, this sucks. Like I obviously want to take a different wide receiver, but it's too early to take him, and it's ridiculous to take him over Amari Cooper, even if it is a mock. And, well, here we are. Damn, that's rough.
Wait, who are you going to take outside of Amari Cooper?
Robert Woods tends to be my wide receiver one in most of my leagues this year because a lot of times I've been going 3 wide receivers. Why not
go like Mark Andrews? Oh, wait, he went 14.
He went. So actually, it's a good conversation because the running backs afterwards are a teardrop, and I want to have my top 3 guys if I can.
He's got that stack.
I wouldn't have gone with Carson there. Is I actually expect that Mahomes is going to be there usually in the 3rd, and I normally would take 2 running backs, Mahomes, and then see what falls to me at the 4 because I don't feel locked in. I like the positional variation that I can take if I do 2 running backs and a tight end or 2 running backs and a quarterback, specifically because of the amount of talent that I just love in the 4, 5, 6 range. And Mahomes tends to fall. Mahomes in this was actually an auto draft.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if Mahomes would have gone there. Maybe Kevin would have taken him at 210, but usually he doesn't actually go in the 2nd in single QB drafts. But I'm very comfortable taking him at the end of the 3rd, going into the 4th, at which point, maybe we would still be in the same situation. But it's one of the few people that I have really risen on, which sounds crazy because it's Mahomes, but I genuinely believe he is going to have an insane season this year.
Yeah, I considered Mahomes. If he were there, I probably would have pulled the trigger on that just for the stack. But I mean, I'm on brand. I mean, Robert Woods wasn't getting past me. I'll say that.
Yeah, and that's ultimately who I wanted. And I was like, if I don't take him here, there's no way he's getting past Kevin to come back to me. But like, whatever. And Kevin and I both agree on this. If you've never heard us talk about this before, Chase, I mean, we're just of the mindset that Robert Woods is like the lowest you can get a wide receiver one. That's probably going to have 120 plus targets.
I love Robert Woods.
I mean, if you're going to go with heavy at all the other positions, and in my mind, do a 0 wide receiver, a lot of times you can even get him in the 5th. I mean, Kevin got him at 410 there, but that's why I like being at the front of drafts, because I can usually go like stacked running backs with maybe a Kittle falls to me, and then a third running back. Even, at this point, like Mostert's like my guy also. So I would be getting Mostert and then hopefully getting Woods. And that would be that's like my dream team. Actually, that's how a hell of a lot of my drafts are going on right now for Rasbowl and DWG, Drafting with Giants and FFCC. God, there's so many drafts going on right now. And I have 2 more starting this weekend.
Yeah, there's about a million more call signs you have to drop.
While you guys were looking at rankings, I was checking out my personal, or I'm sorry, while you guys were talking about who to draft, I was looking at my rankings, and I have Robert Woods above Amari Cooper for 2020.
Yep, I do too. I've got it. I'm pulling up mine right now, actually.
Dude, Robert Woods is going to be a champ, man. Like, people don't realize Cooper Kupp's on his last year in his contract. He didn't perform well as an outside receiver. There's a good chance he's going to end up somewhere else, which is why they drafted Van Jefferson, who's another tactician and route runner. So, yeah, no, I think that Robert Woods is the lock there, especially having 2 years left on his contract with guaranteed money.
Yeah.
I love Robert Woods, man.
Yeah, I've got him at wide receiver 11. I've got him over Evans. I've got him over Ridley. I've got Cooper 15.
Ooh, over Evans. That's a good conversation.
That is. I've got Allen Robinson's my wide receiver 8. I've got him over Galladay.
That's all right. Yeah, well, Galladay was so efficient, man, and he could be a champ this year. Like, there's one guy who got drunk in one of my leagues that I'm in, and we're in like 20 leagues together, and he was bitching to me about how, he auto drafted Galladay in the second round, and I was like, dude, it's not that far fetched, especially because it was a dynasty league. Like it's not that out of the ordinary, because he does have that upside. He has the Chris Godwin upside in dynasty, especially. Yeah. And Matt Stafford, here's the deal: he's either going to end up in Denver, where they're building the perfect destination for a veteran quarterback to come in, just like they did for Peyton Manning to come in and win a Super Bowl, right? Yeah. If yeah, I mean, but it's even better now because of their draft. Like, their draft is insane. So they're building the perfect destination to have a guy come in within the next year or two. Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, Matt Ryan, or Matt Stafford's going to stay healthy and he's going to end up performing extremely, extremely well with the Lions for years and years to come. If they don't do well, then Galladay's going to end up with Trevor Lawrence or Chase Fields. Yeah. So either way you're looking, you're talking about massive upside.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to make a really nice Denver Bronco.
Isn't he? He will be. Like, you guys can't tell me that he's not going to be a Denver Bronco. Like full front. Like, if you guys sat there and said, "Hey," or should I say, I don't believe you guys would sit there and say, "Hey, I'll put $500 on the fact that Aaron Rodgers will not become a Denver Bronco."
I mean,
right? Would you put $500 on it?
I don't know.
I'm talking about straight up odds. I'm not talking about 1 to 10. I'm not talking about any kind of odds. I'm talking about straight up. I will take that bet with you right now live.
Man, it's a great situation. I'm a puss. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm not. Don't let the sunglasses fool you, friends. Oh man,
I feel like I need to come off by this point. I feel like I've sobered up enough.
Well, you need to hit that shit a little harder.
All right, fine. Let's do this shit. I got a shot sitting right here.
As I'm sitting here drinking a Truly.
Dude, I had White Claws earlier, man. I had White Claws.
Dude.
I don't drink White Claws. I've never had one. It was my first time.
The Truly lemonades that's the moneymaker. I'm telling you right now. Yeah.
Not a sponsor. Hashtag not a sponsor yet. Fighting Chance Live needs your sponsorships truly because we just made you a ton of money. Well, they just made you a ton of money.
The lemonade ones, I don't know, man. They're different. They're definitely.
Gary helped me get on those, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not gay, but No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I just had a White Claw, man. I just had a White Claw for the first time. It was actually really good. Not gonna lie.
They're awesome. I see right now on this board 2 modified 0 RB starts.
Yeah.
Myself and it looks like Drake.
Yeah.
At the 101 right now.
What the hell is a modified RB start?
No,
0 RB.
0 RB.
Oh, come on. There's RBs on every team.
Well, okay, so modified, you take your top running back, and then you just try to stack everything else, and then you're going to take.
That's more like best player available, right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think for Drake it is. I think Drake was very intentional because of the 3. Because I just called him out on it, and he said, "No, it's the 3 wide receiver league with a flex. I'm going to go with 4 wide receivers that all have the chance to be wide receiver ones, rather than
for sure
picking another running back to be my RB2." And it makes sense. It's not how I draft or think about it, but it definitely makes sense. I mean, when you start at the 101, yeah, I mean it's best player available because you took Christian McCaffrey, but after that, you're going wide receivers, and his draft is awesome.
Just for the record, I know what a modified RB is. I just wanted to pose the question for people that don't know. I'm just
gonna pretend that you're backtracking,
and I'll have an article actually, on FightCatchFantasy.com. I'm actually in the process of writing up a 0 RB primer, so I really like the strategy this year, just with the with COVID, and you're looking at these fragile running backs that you're going to be taking with all these bench spots. I'm going to be putting running backs in pretty much every one of my bench spots that I can. Just because you could see these guys, like you could see a Zeke Elliott. That's a bad example, but you could see like a Mixon. Maybe he misses a week and you could throw a Gio Bernard in there, or what have you.
I think that auto draft. Oh, I didn't realize. Oops.
You're good. You got time. Gary taking
sorry. I was looking at the
flavor of the week here.
Yeah, I got my 2 flavors of the week: Mahomes and Ertz. Man, they're my 2.
My fault. I got confused for a second. All right, so we'll get back to that conversation in a second. Holy shit, has Raheem Mostert shot up boards or what?
Right? I mean, he should.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if he shot up. I think that he got to a point and then he started to fade and then he came back because of the.
He took steroids on the ADP. Come on. What the hell are you talking about? He shot up. Green Bay, He's in like 7th round. Come on.
Yeah, that was like a long time ago.
Oh, I hate these rounds, man. Like if I could trade out of these rounds, I would. Like I'm looking at Devin Singletary. I'm looking at Raheem Mostert, T.Y. Hilton, Russell Wilson. You know what? I'm going with my boy. I'm sticking by my guns. Boom.
We got. Hey, I don't hate it. I want to see how they use him.
DeAndre Swift, baby. If y'all saw my rant on Twitter the other night, oh my God.
I caught part of that, actually.
Did you? Just part of it before you turned it off? I feel like I'm a little too intense sometimes.
Hey, you know what? There's not enough intensity on the Twitter.com. So, dude, you know what?
Some Twitter accounts, they like to talk, and I don't like to talk. I like to, I guess,
espouse and
accentuate my individuality. Right? Is that what they call it now? I don't even know.
Sure.
But you made me take the last shot. All right. So the reality with DeAndre Swift, man, is it's a whole new regime. Like people don't get it. Like, so over the past 40 years, there's been 4 years where they have drafted 2 or more running backs before the 4th round. A lot of 4s. Keep up. The reality of the situation is over the past 4 years, 2 of those years have came in the past 4 years. So in other words, they've drafted 2 or more running backs in the first 4 rounds out of the 4 times in their history have come in the past 4 years. There's a regime change, in other words, where they're drafting offensive linemen early, and they normally don't do that. This could be the best offensive line we have ever looked at for the Detroit Lions. So why people are sitting there saying it's the Detroit Lions? It's the same thing we've always expected. Worst case scenario is that they fire Matt Nagy. Or I'm sorry, what's his name? Matt Patricia, and go with a whole entire different offensive, mindset, or they follow his mindset and they're a run heavy team. And Matt Stafford, who loves to check down to running backs, now has the best check down running back he has ever played with. Like, why are people so high on Jonathan Taylor and CEH about the system they've landed in, while they have DeAndre Swift in the absolute best position he's ever been in?
Yep.
And you flash back to what, October or November, and Swift was pretty much, he's one or two. As far as running backs, you're talking about him and Etienne. Obviously, he didn't declare, but Swift was top 2 in that time frame.
It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. Maybe this is more of a dynasty pick, by the way. But either way, Kerryon can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't understand even when he was on the field, he wasn't efficient. So what is the speed bump to DeAndre Swift's production? Just trying to figure it out.
I mean,
there's avenues. There's avenues for him.
You can stay on the field and still get touches.
You're on the clock, by the way.
Oh, am I back?
Yep,
Oh.
you're good.
Oh, hey.
40 seconds.
Okay, cool. I'm good.
I didn't want to interrupt you, man. You were going hard in the paint.
I was going semi-hard. I was going with the semi.
You're going to the semi. I knew you were going.
After the recent news, no. God, I hate these rounds, man. I would trade all these picks over the next 2 rounds in order to move back and acquire more late sleepers and future picks if I was in Dynasty. However, that's not the case. So let's go ahead and go Raheem Mostert.
Damn it. I was like, sweet, I'm going to for sure get Raheem because you just went on this rant how he's like shooting up. So
wrong.
Oh, no, I like Raheem Mostert, but
the price point.
Yeah.
No thanks. I'm out. Give me Tevin Coleman in like the 9th.
I like Jared McKinnon late too. I might actually take him as well. We'll see what happens. But no, Raheem Mostert still has value. Like, he's not like, I didn't say that the value is wrong. I just said how his value has shot up.
What's the Shanahan offense? They use multiple running backs. So why tie yourself with a 4th, 5th round price on Mostert, when you may not get, a full season's worth of him?
Have you seen Alfred Morris?
Unfortunately.
Yes, exactly. Unfortunately. Have you seen Raheem Mostert? Unfortunately, it still works in that offense.
Do you remember? I don't know if you remember that Matthew Berry rant about Alfred Morris a couple years ago.
Yeah,
I was at that game. It was Green Bay and San Francisco on Monday night, and they put in Breida, who I think was doubtful in that game. And yeah, that's one for the ages. If you haven't checked that out, everybody, please do.
Dude, it's amazing.
Nick Mullins almost beat you. Oh, that was an amazing day.
No, but
from last season,
that was in the league he lost in. That was in Scott Fishbowl. I'm pretty sure it's Scott Fishbowl.
It's amazing.
Yep.
So I did a little bit of a pivot here, and despite the fact that I texted Kevin earlier last week and said I'm moving Russell above Dak, I decided I really wanted to go with Mostert as my RB4. Still, just keep kicking the wide receiver 2 down the road. But since I have Amari, I think Dak I'm comfortable having, and this I'm just going to say my logic, whether or not it's right or wrong, I don't know. One, you get the stack. So if Amari has his up and down games, that's great. But using the logic that Chase had said earlier that, Amari is going to see some really difficult cornerbacks and, potentially shadowed, whatever it is. Well, that's fine because they have Gallup and because they have Lamb and because they have Zeke. That should make Dak 100% matchup proof. They're going to have such a good offense. Whereas Amari might fall week to week, be a little or bust. I think Dak could, in theory, even that up a tiny bit just to have that there. I know it's a quarterback versus a wide receiver, so the logic is it's just what's going on in my head right now. But I'm comfortable with it. I think if I didn't have Amari, I probably would be taking Russell Wilson there because I believe that Russell Wilson is going to get unleashed if Carson's not able to stay fully healthy. I think they're doing everything they can to figure out that running game right now, despite the fact that I love Chris Carson. I think that for once, Mr. Unlimited is going to show up and Russell Wilson is going to get back there to being, potentially top 3 or to be a top 3 QB.
That dude needs to just get unleashed. For the love of God, let him throw the ball. That man. Oh, and I got sniped the holy hell.
You always get sniped.
I do. I get sniped on everybody because I have everybody on every GD team. I have too many teams. Everybody is a snipe. So, all right. So, I'm back. At what are we? 6'10"?
Yep.
Shit. I got 3 receivers in the bank. I got George Kittle. I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Let me see who we got going on here. All right. We're not going to go quarterback. We're not going tight end. I might have to keep this train going.
So while you're talking, Gary, I'm curious what you think about Chris Carson since that was your 3rd round pick. I mean, obviously there's, some question marks behind his, upcoming season. They're obviously trying to replace him as well. Is DJ Dallas going to take a spot from him?
No, I mean, I don't think that they're doing anything to figure out Chris Carson's spot. I think they're doing everything to figure out their running back 2 spot because that's their identity is just to run. I think Chris Carson is
it though this year?
At least a lock for 250 touches. I think he's closer to, I can't say he's a lock for 300, but he's pretty damn close to 300 touches. His targets have continued to go up. Even with Penny there, he still was putting out good numbers. I think that they've said he's full go for the start of the season. That's what I'm hearing. I'm not particularly concerned about the Hyde signing. The Hyde signing was because Penny is not going to be there. DJ Dallas has been said specifically from Pete Carroll that he's going to add a lot to their special teams. There was nothing referenced in terms of him being just a part of their standard offense. So I'm all aboard. I mean, Chris Carson, specifically as an RB3, that's amazing value to me. As an RB2, you might get I'm a little bit more cautious against it.
Oh,
but in terms of my rankings, I have him like 12 to 15 in terms of my running backs.
Yeah. So, the future is bright. That's why I'm wearing these shades. So, yeah, that's my CEH at number 3 explanation. But I went Cam Akers here. It's really a bet on talent. 12 personnel is not only going to help the passing game in LA, but it's going to help the run game. Because when they were in 12 personnel late last season, they weren't using Everett. They were using Johnny Munn as that second tight end. And he's a really good run blocker. Higbee is the receiving guy. So I like them being able to run out of that 12 personnel. I think eventually Cam Akers in 2020 is going to assert himself. We've heard about the 4 running back talk, from McVay. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to bet on talent with Cam Akers there, even though that I will admit that line is just god awful when you have to re-sign and 9,000-year-old Andrew Whitworth to anchor your line again. I mean, that should kind of tell you everything you need to know.
I don't understand. Like, I genuinely do now believe that at best, this is going to be a complete split. At worst, this is Henderson is going to be the
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. I was crumbling up some trash to throw away.
Why?
Like
are you trying to tell me something?
Just like, so you're an Akers truther then?
No, I'm not. I was crumbling up the trash that I heard right before you talking. So sorry. No, go ahead. I was just messing around.
It's all good. Man.
No, I can't get on board with Akers personally. I think that he's a great running back. he just ended up in a shit situation. And honestly, like every single running back outside of maybe Zach Moss, DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, CH, ended up in terrible situations. Like Eno Benjamin didn't even get drafted till the 7th freaking round, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like I like, how did all of these running backs end up in such terrible situations?
Yep.
Like Darrington Evans, right? Like bad situation behind Derrick Henry. Although he fits, the mold to be the pass catching running back, they're not going to use him because he doesn't catch passes. He's the mold. Everybody thinks he's the mold, but he's not that guy. Every other running back, and AJ Dillon as well, I mean, just ended up in terrible situations. So I don't know, man. Like Cam Akers, who I had as my 104 prior to the draft, has now fallen to late first round rookie draft pick, if not second round pick for rookies in dynasty leagues.
I get it.
Kevin, so Akers comes in, and we already know that Henderson's there. And then Dobbins comes in, and we know Ingram's there. But the Dobbins offense is so much better than the Rams offense, in my opinion. And yet, there's not a huge gap in where they're going right here. But, like, I don't know. I just don't see Akers. Like, I'd rather have the guys going after him. I'd rather have Ronald Jones. I would rather have – he hasn't gone yet, but – Jordan Howard, and no, I wouldn't. But I don't know. Like
I actually would.
At the 6'10", it's not a terrible pick, right? Like that. I'm not going to hate on that because of where it's just. I just don't think I'm ever going to take him, except for in a dynasty league, just to see what happens. But also, let's auto pick this pick.
Joey Pacelli, by the way, said, "How about this thought? Rams brought in a RB." Used to running behind a shit offensive line rather than spending money to rebuild the offensive line. I completely agree. 100%. Ezra Cleveland, which I think was actually so I would actually be behind the Rams, but they picked Van Jefferson over Ezra Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who the Minnesota Vikings selected one pick later, who know how to build a team. Dude, they are fucking Sean McVay. They are.
Yep, it's insane.
It'll be great in New England once Belichick retires.
Dude, do you really think that's going to happen? Because that's a possibility, right?
I'm just throwing shit out, but
I like it. I like it.
It's a little spicy, but you know what? I can see it. It's a little hot. I can see it.
I like it, dude. That's
see a lot of things though. Rodgers to Denver, McVay to New England. Fuck it. Let's throw shit on the wall night.
Dude, we're writing it down. We're writing it down on the charts on the dry erase board in permanent ink, where we can later use more permanent ink to take it off of the dry erase board.
That's what I need. I need one of those things. I need to put it right here. I need one of those, like the Woody Page chalkboards or dry erase boards. That's what I need. That's going to happen. I got to go to freaking Walmart or Target and get one of them. It's happening.
What's Walmart?
The place where you get COVID.
Chase, yeah.
I know. I'm trying to find the person I want to take because this whole ADP
all the way
is
down there.
Up. Yeah.
Don't take Cam Akers.
While you're picking real quick, one thing I wanted to point out: Hayden Hurst just went tight end 5 in this round.
Yeah, I like it.
So B-Merch took them, and went above Waller and all the other. I mean, I guess all the other tight ends because tight end 5. I mean, I think you have the big 4, and then there's just this tier behind those 4. So. Yeah, it's bold. I like it. I got some tight ends I would prefer over Hurst, even though I do really like him. But bold.
I got a question for Chase, and I'm looking at Fighting Chance Fantasies. Leo Grandio took Jordan Howard. Where do you stand on that Miami backfield between him and Breida?
Well, it's going to operate the same way that the 49ers offense relied on early in the season. You're going to have guys like Matt Breida who, run inside the 20s. Meanwhile, they're going to rely on somebody that runs the ball inside the 20s. Wait, did I say that right? Inside the red zone versus outside the red zone.
Yeah. Between the 20s, red zone.
Versus outside the 20s. Jordan Howard is going to be the guy inside the 20s, and he's already put up massive numbers previously, which, I mean, he just, ever since, I guess, the tail end of last year, he's been undervalued. I mean, dude, he killed it. He killed it in Philadelphia, right? Am I wrong? Like, I mean, compared to his ADP, he did very well.
Yeah, he was hitting it off pretty well until he got hurt.
Yeah, so I don't understand why he's so disrespected. Like,
I think people just poo-poo on the Dolphins' offense, despite the fact that
yeah,
you try to do everything.
Let them keep doing that.
The Dolphins' offense. That's
crazy.
Yeah.
And especially with the getting
Marcus Allen, the GM who drafted, what was it, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, who also set up the staff before he left to draft Patrick Mahomes and whoever else it was in that draft, is now the GM, the actual GM of the Miami Dolphins. Like, he's the king of rebuilding. He also helped the Bills rebuild, by the way. And now the Bills are a playoff, competitive team. Dude, this guy, Marcus Allen, is a genius. And he is going to build the Dolphins in the right way. I did not like the draft picks up until I looked at Marcus Allen's history of his drafts. The guy's a genius. He is an absolute genius.
I'm going to have to check that out. It's the first time anyone's ever said that.
I'll share my link with you. If you guys want to check it out, it's at Dynasty Happy Hour. I have this series where I call Stabilizing Your Future, where I think that quarterbacks are undervalued, even in single quarterback leagues, that is. And so I will, if you want to go to it, check out Dynasty Happy Hour. You guys will be able to find those articles, but I will share it with you personally as soon as we get finished with this. I'm up. And I'm looking at Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady. These guys are all getting drafted super high, followed by Keyshawn Vaughn, Deontay Johnson, Sonny Michel.
We're getting into some murky waters here.
I mean, dude, all these rounds from 5 until 9 are just brutal because these make or break your fantasy lineups in a lot of cases, right?
Mm-hmm, for sure.
There's not a lot of times that you drop a 5th round or a 6th round or 7th round or 8th round pick because you feel like you're attached to them to an extent. Yeah. And for me, my attachment is going to be a reach compared to most people, but I really believe CeeDee Lamb is going to be a stud rookie wide receiver in this upcoming draft. I really do.
Yeah, don't hate it at all. I really don't. I mean, if you
after looking at the schedule, there's no way you can't.
Yeah, if you believe in that offense, if you believe Dak Prescott's going to come in and throw another for 5,000 yards again in that offense, I mean, it's going to be tied to those guys. Right. It's going to be Lamb. It's going to be obviously a combination of those three with Zeke getting what he gets in the receiving game, and then you're banking on Jarwin. So just the collection of those guys, and I would, arguably Lamb might have the most talent of any of those wide receivers. So really, year one in the slot, I mean, he's just a matchup nightmare until he really asserts himself.
Oh, I didn't realize Mecole Hardman went.
Yeah,
I was going to talk about it. You earlier had said that you wanted to discuss him, and so drop your nuggets there for Mecole.
Oh man! All right, so here's the deal, guys. Mecole Hardman, while targeted, I believe he had the most fantasy points per target of any wide receiver in the NFL. On top of that, Patrick Mahomes had the best quarterback rating while targeting Mecole Hardman. This guy's an absolute monster, and he was not given a fair chance. He wasn't. No. And this guy's coming into his second year after being the most fantasy points per targeted receiver in the NFL. He's going into his second year. His target share isn't ideal. However, that's going to change, whether it's Sammy Watkins giving up targets or Demarcus Robinson giving up targets. This guy is going to be a monster. Guys, give Mecole Hardman a chance. I'm telling you. In the 7th round, I mean, I thought I'd get back to me in the 803. I didn't realize he'd go that early. He went 9th and drafted earlier. So, man.
If he was going to be a shitty player, he'd be Marcole Lipdick. But he's a hard man. That's the only analysis I have.
Listen, I'm a little tipsy, and I still have a direction for Mecole Hardman. I've been drinking since 5:30 to 6 o'clock. Yeah. No, I still am hard for Mecole Hardman. Let's do it. Get some Mecole Hardman. All right, talk to me about your Debo pick.
He's a 49ers fan. There you go. Boom.
No, I mean,
okay.
like, regardless
All right,
of that,
over.
yeah, I mean, there's the injury. I'm somebody that tends to always buy into injury dips. I've just kind of always done it. And if he can come back,
Baldwin
with Doug Baldwin,
yeah, Doug Baldwin,
always,
oh.
and totally. But yeah, I mean, with Debo, fine. Like if he misses a few games to begin the season, he's not somebody that I'm going to be dropping. I know that towards the back half of the season, he should be coming on extremely strong and extremely high. I mean, despite the fact that I took Dak Prescott, like even going into this draft, I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm just going to take Jimmy now that he has Jordan Reed, like, and he has all these other weapons and stuff. Even if everybody says they don't have a bunch of them, that offense is predicated on short passes and whatnot. So, but this isn't about Jimmy, it's about Debo. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit nervous about his foot, but that's where, like, if he hadn't have gotten injured, he would be a 5th round pick, probably. He would definitely go ahead of Diggs. Maybe
he'd be in that Parker tier. He'd be in that Parker, Tyler Boyd, Keenan Allen kind of tier. He'd be right in line with them.
So, I mean, to me, I'm definitely going to buy that and get the 3 or 4 round value on that. I'm taking him all over the place in almost every league I can, especially because he just sits there at the top of like the ADP or the ranks for whatever site you're on, and he just sits there and gets passed up. And then, you know, usually I'm trying to take him as my wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4, depending on how things go. And I have no complaints for it because it's a low risk pick. I mean, yes, you said it's the 8th round, but Jamison Crowder just went after him. I already have a quarterback, but, you know, a tight end. These are the Gronks. The other guy that I would be going for here hasn't been taken yet, so I don't want to throw anything off for people.
You just don't want me to take him.
No, I mean, you don't need a tight end. I personally love
robust.
I love Evan Ingram. I think Evan Ingram is going to be amazing this year, and he's going to be a total steal. Yeah, fine. Like he has injury issues. Again, I buy injury dip. I think that Evan Ingram had more targets per game than Kelsey did, and that when he is in there, he is so integrated into that offense, and he is just such a badass tight end. It sucks that if he goes down, so be it. But it's also tight end. Like, I'll happily take him for as long as I can and then be able to find some other tight end. Like, shit, like Tyler Eifert, somebody who I'd like relative to how undrafted he goes. You know, by the time Evan Ingram gets injured, then there'll be a Tyler Eifert. There'll be someone else that's kind of popped that I'll be able to stream. Or if Evan Ingram plays 16 games with this offense with Daniel Jones, I mean, he will be considered in that top 3 tier, if not nudge out Mark Andrews going into next season.
Jason Garrett knows how to use tight ends. If anybody can, there he
goes.
You go, Drake. Drake's got his ear down. He's listening. So I took Kyler Murray, which is 8'10". That's about give or take a round, but you know what? He's quarterback 4 on my list. And you know what? I didn't really like much of the running backs. I think I can get guys I want later instead of reaching for guys just because I need another running back or receivers. There's guys I like too. So I said, fuck it. I'll take Kyler Murray. And at least, yeah, that's pretty much how I draft most of the time. Fuck it.
Nah, it makes sense. I
have to ask a question right here. How the hell do I type responses to people in this comments? I've never been able to figure this out. Do I have to go to the...
I can't do it. Like, unless I'm hosting it, I haven't been able to figure out how to do it.
Am I able to post, like, is it from our YouTube or like we've talked about this before, and unfortunately now we're doing it on air.
I want to do it on air.
To Joe, 16 game capabilities. I mean, Ingram is the top 3 to 5 tight end. Herndon we're hoping to be a top 12 tight end if he plays 16 games because he has Darnold and he has Gase. Number 1, he has Gase, and I'm not going to really trust much out of that offense other than Le'Veon Bell just because he's a lock for 300 touches.
If there's anybody that likes 2019 more than 2020, it's Chris Herndon. I'm just saying.
We've seen Ingram do it too.
Yeah.
We've seen Herndon in spurts. We've seen Ingram in his rookie year. Granted, that was with everybody and their mother hurt, but we've seen Ingram be a stud, and we just want him to be on the field because when he's on the field, the dude's a monster. It's just that, and that's baked into his price.
Dude, when it comes to Gase, I mean, it is what it is.
Dude, Gase loves his slot wide receivers, by the way. So Jamison Crowder is going to be a beast. I just finished up an article today for Dynasty Happy Hour. However, it's going to take like a week to come out. But either way, I'm telling you,
really
there's certain
really fast to finish.
Let it marinate a little bit.
I come out with about 10 articles a week, and I write for both Dynasty Nerds and Dynasty Happy Hour, who try to keep up, but I understand they can't because who can keep up with all the writers along with 10 articles a week? So if anybody wants to pick me up, hit me up and I'll write for them. But I just came out with an article for slot wide receivers that are worth picking up versus slot wide receivers that are roster clogs. And I think that Jamison Crowder, after seeing a very small sample size prior to Sam Darnold's, getting mono and seeing ghost, along with the terrible offensive line play, I mean, dude, like we saw 14 receptions on 17 targets. It was only for 99 yards, but for PPR, who gives a fuck how many yards it gets?
Right.
Like, he has an offensive line now. He has more time to get open. Like, come on. Get Jamison Crowder some ownership, guys. Like, this is stupid why he's going so late.
Kevin, I got to ask a question about Kyler Murray. I know that we talked about him, but going back real quick. When the Hopkins trade happened, didn't everybody anoint that Kyler was going to be QB3 this year? And it was just like, this is happening. And then CD happened, and Dak became QB3, and then now Kyler is back to being QB7. Like, I don't know. That it feels like that was a big drop.
QB7
in this draft.
QB7 in this. I mean, I still got him at QB4. At least in mine, I've got him over Wilson just because I don't believe that Seattle will let Wilson be Wilson. But
dude, it's an even year. This is not unfair. Matt Ryan could go off.
We need to be more in tune with the moon and tides here and the Gregorian calendar. This in the year of Matt Ryan that ends in an even number.
Yeah. No, Matt Ryan definitely should be a top 4 quarterback. Undoubtedly. Yeah. No,
so I'm in Raz Bowl. I'm in Raz Bowl with Heath Cummings from CBS. He took everybody in Atlanta. He took an Atlanta stack minus Gurley. So he got Ryan, he got Ridley, Julio, Hurst. That dude loaded up. Yeah, like that.
Why?
It was masterful.
I mean, I think that one can make the argument that's the most potent offensive division.
Top 3. The division, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just the division overall with the Saints, Falcons.
I got that.
Yeah, but are you really going to feel comfortable unloading half those receivers or half the offense in the same week?
So admittedly, this is
that's ball too.
Raz Bowl, it's a larger format, and so
better ball.
Better ball, yeah. And
wait, what's better ball? Can you please explain that to me? I actually don't know that for real.
You have a tiny bit of dollars of fab to use in the first 9 weeks, so it is best ball, but you can make some roster substitutions, and there's no $0 bids. So at max, you could do 10 changes, I guess would be the right way to say it.
Hey, Bolick and the other 6 players that are in our league, if you're listening, there's actually a term for this. It's called better ball, where we don't have 6 players in a league, right? It's actually a full league. It's not 6 players, where we have 35 roster spots, okay? And we have 2 quarterbacks, 2 with a tight end premium, with 4 wide receivers, 3 running backs, 3 flex spots, and it's not a better ball format, or I'm sorry, it's not a best ball format where we get to play the best players available. It's a better ball format where instead of 5 trannies or transactions, as you guys call it, we call it trannies, you actually get to use multiple transactions. It's just limited. So If you guys want to join or start that kind of league, let's do it on fantasy football discussion.
Let's do it.
Why the hell not? I'm already in 9,000 leagues. What's another one? Chase, you're back up, by the way.
Yeah.
So Chase is back up, and I'm just going to quickly interject here with Deshaun Jackson was my pick, and another guy you're going to see on most of my rosters.
Interject me? No, I'm just kidding.
I love Deshaun Jackson. I don't understand any of the negativity. Like, obviously, yeah, he was injured. It seems like he is fully healthy.
The racist up against Jews, but go ahead.
Okay, but moving on from that, like, I mean, just living
Go
in
off.
the world. Like, anyway, yeah, damn, now I don't even want to talk about him because
God, go ahead.
I mean,
I'm not Jewish, but some of my good friends are. God.
No, it's definitely like a valid thing, and that's why I even like when I picked him in a different league, started having a conversation with somebody on Twitter, and I actually deleted the conversation. Was like, I don't want to pretend like what was said doesn't matter, and I'm going to go back to that. I don't want to pretend like what was said doesn't matter. I picked him for fantasy, and that's it. Not a good person.
30 seconds to Chase.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out because I have no idea which way to go. Oh,
you are
man.
allowed to have a tight end or a quarterback. I just want to let you know that.
No, I don't like those people.
Well,
I'm racist up against tight ends and quarterbacks.
Some people like a nice butt, like the nice tight end. Some people like quarterbacks.
Whoa.
2, 1. Oh, you got autoed.
No, I didn't.
Oh, maybe not. Okay, just kidding.
I have 16 seconds left on my clock, my friend.
Wow.
Not on ours, man. You just somehow got autoed Stafford.
No, that's who I wanted.
What?
So Matthew
Stafford,
Stafford's
this time.
his yards per or his adjusted yards per attempt were through the roof this past year. I mean, it was like his third year in the league where he was pretty much anointed the prodigy behind Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers. Dude, he's a stud, man. And unfortunately, he hasn't been able to stay on the field. Like I talked about with him and Swift, I mean, it's a new regime. It really is. So I'm laying my chips on the line with him being a pass catcher and running back and him being able to distribute the ball properly to Galladay and Marvin Jones Jr. and, of course, Quintez Cephas, who is, by the way, the only wide receiver on the roster post 2021. Yeah.
Yep.
Which, by the way, 2 of the receivers on the roster went to Old Dominion University, and this is Virginia Beach is not it's probably the furthest thing from an athletic gene pool or prospect area.
Right.
Like we had Percy Harvin, that's it. And like there are no fans here. So Old Dominion University, who's 30 minutes away, is the closest school from me outside of ECU, East Carolina University, William and Mary University, and
is JMU
Jameson Madison. Huh?
Yeah, you just said it, JMU.
Yeah, JMU is 2 hours away. So we don't have any prospects close to us. So we do have 2 wide receivers with Fulgham and the other dude who I can't remember. But, I mean, they're not locks to make the roster. To be honest, the Lions roster is going to get torn apart in 2021 when it comes to wide receivers, if not the entire roster, which is an upgrade for Lions fans as it is.
Maybe once they can get rid of their coaching staff, then it'll be a heck of a lot better.
Well, dude, they have done a better job with their coaching staff. They really have. Dude, it looks like.
Yeah.
I just wonder if if they're going
to everything else is okay.
time, to really build that. If they're going to give him that rope,
they should, because they should do what other teams like Kyle Shanahan and oh god, I'm having a brain fart. Kyle Shanahan and John Gruden have done. They really should give them that amount of time because that's what it takes in order to go through rebuild. 3-year contracts are bullshit for teams, and it creates no longevity for a future franchise. Trust me, I know. I'm a Washington, I guess, fan, although I haven't supported them since they fired McGloin. But I mean, dude, they have to do something. All right, I'm up again. And I'm looking at a very similar thing since I'm only 6 picks away. Makes sense.
I can't endorse that JMU thing because I've got North Dakota State in my backyard. So, yeah, you're gonna have to suck on that. I'm sorry. Trey Lance, by the way, 2021 quarterback one in rookie drafts. Just saying. Anyway,
I'm gonna snake somebody on this Tony Pollard pick. I'm just doing it for the fuck of it.
I dig it. Because he could have some standalone value. I mean, if Zeke gets hurt, he's top 6 running back. I'd say
from here on out, like I'm pretty much just going wide receivers. I got my 2 starters. I know I need a third. I got CeeDee Lamb as an option, but I study DFS to the nth degree. I'm a huge DFS guy. I had one, so I run a Patreon account, and it's patreon.com/fantasy intervention or whatever. I don't even know what it is at this point. I run a Patreon account, and I've won multiple people over $1,000 because I post 3 lineups every single week where they can alter, picks. Like I pick 4 people that I know are going to produce, 3 people in offenses that I know are going to produce, and they can alter their picks. And I like playing with my third wide receiver as a DFS-esque lineup. Like I talked about earlier with Tyreek Hill, I don't want my first wide receiver to be a guy who's he might hit here, he might hit there. I want them to be solid options because I like to play the lottery with my third wide receivers, with my flex options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense. To me, it's the main reason to go with an RB robust strategy is because I think you can easily get a couple guys that are going to be solid. And then later you can come back and just scoop up a whole bunch of wide receivers that inevitably 1 or 2 of them ends up, having a lot higher of a weekly floor than we would have thought going into the season.
Yeah, it's almost too easy at that point if you study weekly, plays.
Yeah. DFS is not a huge thing for me, but I just gotta ask real quick here. So Keyshawn Vaughn just seems to have been falling with the signing of LaShawn McCoy to the Bucks. And I want to know your take, Chase. Who is the biggest winner who out of that backfield, and who's the biggest loser?
Ongumbuale. It's clear. Like
he's the biggest loser.
No, I'm sorry. What?
He's the biggest winner by the McCoy signing?
Yeah. Why wouldn't he be?
Because most people would think that McCoy is coming in to be more of a pass catching back. Do you think that it's going to be, I can't tell if you're being serious, but do you think it's going to be Rojo, Vaughn, and Shady competing for this?
Shady's not going to be catching that many Shady has been able to catch passes in his career. However, Ongumbuale, he's the red zone guy. Like, he's the check down dude. Like, when you watch the games, right? Like, so this is I trust analytics more than anything else. I trust analytics to nth degree. However, when you watch the games, Ongumbuale was targeted by Bruce Arians so many times, given the opportunity, and he performed okay. It wasn't great, but that Bruce Arians loves this guy. And when you look back at the Chris Thompsons and the David Johnsons and everything else, combined, you never know who you're going to expect to perform. But Ongumbuale is the cheapest out of all of them. Like he's going Browns later.
Those are different. Those are different statements. Like one statement is who is the cheapest value, who's the biggest value in the backfield. But you don't go and draft Keyshawn Vaughn because you love Derek Ongumbuale so much, and you don't then sign LaShawn McCoy because you love Derek Ongumbuale so much. He is at best your third down back. Right?
Yeah. That's. I mean, they signed McCoy for how much? What was the guaranteed money?
I mean, it was 1 for $1 million. That's fine, but he's also been on the streets for a while. So if he got anything more than that,
and Arians loves giving guys a chance too, especially those veteran guys. He loves giving those guys a chance, like he gave Chris Johnson a chance. He had how long did he have Andre Ellington for pretty much he loves giving those reclamation projects, and we pretty much saw last year with LaShawn McCoy, kind of just everybody else getting vaulted over him, and he took that back seat. Especially in the playoffs, he didn't really get on the roster, but
yeah, he didn't even fill out games because he wasn't a valuable asset. Like he wasn't a valuable asset.
So move on from the shady thing. Why Keyshawn Vaughn? Why do you spend up to get Keyshawn Vaughn when you have Ronald Jones and you have your love of your life, Dare Ogunbowale?
That's a great question.
The love of your life.
We're getting married, by the way. Didn't know if you do that or not.
Dare to love.
I'll link the registry in the podcast.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal.
It's a big shot.
I just hit the ceiling with my sunglasses. All right, so oh shit, I shut the camera. Here's the deal. No, Tom Brady does not like rookie running backs. You've seen it throughout his history. He wants somebody who can protect him. And rookie running backs, especially Keyshawn Vaughn, they do an all right job. However, they don't know the scheme. They don't know the fit. And typically running backs who, I guess, struggle with run blocking assignments don't actually perform well. Yep. So with that being the case, Dare Ogunbowale, who is a phenomenal option towards the tail end of the season, once we saw injuries occur, dude, he's the perfect fit. So for me, Keyshawn Vaughn is a year out. He's not a waste of a draft pick necessarily, but he's an average guy. Like you're talking about a guy who, he can catch passes, but is he really pass catching back? No, he's not. He's not up to the level where I see Dare Ogunbowale, who, by the way, is on a contract year. So he could be performing for teams like the Saints, for teams like the Minnesota Vikings, for other teams that need a pass catcher back. Even the 49ers would be an interesting team. He's going to find a team in 2021. And for this year alone, dude, he's the option being with his draft capital being so low. Like he's that guy. And if you sit there and you try and compare players like, hey, who's the most valuable player in this offense?
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're going to lose because you're trying to find players who have, I guess, potential over where their actual value is. If you just sit there and try and assign values to guys and say, obviously, he's the best player over this best player. It's like, yeah, no shit. Just find the guy who has the better value. So,
yeah.
I hear you.
I still don't know if I agree with any of that. But I do agree that Ogunbowale will be good as a pass catching back in the offense. I just have no idea. I don't know. I think that.
And I will say one thing at your ceremony. I want at least a good table, and it better not be. I want no buffet, no cash.
My
bar.
husband will be there. Just saying.
Love it. All right, so I took Boston Scott, who I think is going to carve out a role.
Who's that?
He plays for Boston. He plays for Red Sox.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So some dude named Scott. He's from Back Bay.
We have Back Bay here too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to take my naked Patriot stack here because I don't have Tom Brady. But I have Edelman, and I'm going to take N'Keal Harry, who I think he's absolutely slept on, and his ADP has not caught up with the Cam Newton signing. He's had receivers that he's made. I mean, if you can make Calvin Benjamin into something usable, certainly you can make N'Keal Harry into something usable. N'Keal Harry obviously trumps those guys out of the water, but he's going to be the top outside guy in that offense if he can get on the same page with Newton. I mean, that offense from where we were a couple months ago with Jared Stidham, we'd have had no idea what to think of James White or Julian Edelman, and we saw him slipping big time as far as ADP into the 8th, 9th round sometimes. Now we should have a bit of resurgence with N'Keal Harry as the top outside target for Cam Newton. We just haven't seen it priced properly yet. So right now we still have value.
Yeah. I think he's still a value. I think especially where he's going, it's kind of I'm not sure how much I've put too much stock in their wide receiver picking abilities in the draft. But yeah, I feel like N'Keal Harry is just one of those guys that I'm very comfortable dropping after week 2. I would have no issue doing it, and I'm happy to see what happens in those first 2 weeks because of how late you're getting him. You'll find some other guys that are going to pop, and he will be the bottom of my roster. Even guys that I draft after him, especially if I hadn't taken Dak, I still would be waiting on a quarterback, or I might be taking him here. In which case, that's fine with me. N'Keal Harry can still be my 11th round pick, and I'll get a quarterback after that. And N'Keal is my first guy to cut. But hey, he could totally pop.
Manuel Sanders, 13-7. I mean, man, we're looking at that Saints offense.
13-7?
Or 11-7. 11, you're right. That just seems, I mean, that's about right for them. But if we're forecasting the Saints at least to have now they've got Jared Cook and they've got Michael Thomas, and now they have Sanders being, take a little pressure off Thomas. I really like it. That's just a great veteran value there. As your wide receiver 3, I'd be perfectly happy with him.
Be interesting to see just what he actually provides on a week-to-week basis. If he can provide a weekly wide receiver 2 or, a wide receiver 3, I guess, or if he's just going to kind of have hit and miss games. I think he and Cook are going to be vying for that second, third or fourth pass catcher, depending on if Kamara ends up being the guy ahead of him. So, I'm very excited for him. It sucks that he went to the Saints of all places after being with the Niners for the year, but I mean, I'm happy that he'll get to have some time with Drew Brees, and man, that offense is just going to be awesome. It's nice to have a piece of it, but I'm just not sure how reliable he is. That being said, for most teams, he's your wide receiver 4, 5, 6, maybe.
Yeah, that's about right. Where he should be, at least in a hierarchy of wide receivers. But yeah, he can absolutely be, wide receiver 3 or flex option each week. Certainly matchup dependent.
One player that's just drastically fallen and he went last round was Sony Michel. And I find myself, I don't know why I didn't take him here. I think because I wanted the upside of what Vaughn could be. But now that even as I'm saying that out loud, that feels crazy. Because Sony Michel, he's in the 10th round. And realistically, he's the last starting running back, right, ever taken. Fine, James White's there. But in most games on a weekly basis, Sony Michel should be their starter. Everyone's terrified of the knee. And for somebody that buys into injury dips, Sony Michel is somebody that I was completely fading. And then he just got so far down that I was like, I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen if you're getting him as your RB 4, 5, 6, whatever, because of how late they're going. And yeah, I don't know if I have any expectations. So anything that he can do would be better. It'll be interesting to see, if Cam is able to open up some more running rooms, because it won't maybe be as televised what's actually going to be happening on a per play basis when it's Michel in or White in, because Cam's going to be there and maybe he's just going to keep it and run it. And so it at least will keep defenses a little bit more honest versus what Sony Michel being on the field was definitely, blasting to the defense in the past year.
The reality situation is with Cam Newton is he does not pass the running back. I mean, he had Christian McCaffrey, of course, but dude, before that, he was passing running back something 30 or 40 times a game. He likes to run. I know he's maturing, he's becoming Donovan McNabb, but that's not the case. By the way, for those that are watching, I did lose a eyeglass on my right eye. So I'm now
it's a pirate's life for Chase.
It's
a pirate's life.
Yeah.
Are you gonna pick? Dude, that was sad. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody.
It was
everybody gets one. Everybody gets one.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't normally draft rookie wide receivers. However, this class is impressive. And with Minnesota,
yep,
Like it.
Dude, Justin Jefferson could be a gem. An
Yeah.
absolute gem. He could be a darling.
How do you see that Minnesota wide? You see Jefferson in the slot. How do you see that slot work as far as Thielen and Jefferson?
There's
you think
not
they
going to be a
split that up?
slot.
No.
No, so I'm like I said, I'm coming out with an article for Dynasty Happy Hour talking about how there's slot receivers are like there's a misconception among them. Adam Thielen only played like 20 something snaps out of the slot. He's not a slot receiver. He is an outside receiver who can get motioned, which is essentially the Z receiver.
Yeah.
The slot receiver there is going to be Irv Smith Jr. He's not a tight end. He's a slot receiver, which Kirk Cousins feels very comfortable passing to. 51 passes last year went in the red zone to receivers. Kirk Cousins only passed 51 times inside the red zone. The average amount was 72 or 73 times, which I think I brought up earlier, but just for the listeners that are just tuning in, dude, Irv Smith Jr. is going to be an absolute beast. Oh man, I just saw her drafted. It's all right. I'll take Cam Newton.
Who knew who you were gonna take? I love it.
He just talked him up for everybody else. So we'll see. If Jefferson.
I had
goes,
one guy,
I think,
but it's cool.
Well, I followed up your pick with my homery of homery picks, but I genuinely believe at his MVP odds, which are like 3,000 to 1, 300 to 1, whatever it is. I think it's 300 to 1. Jimmy Garoppolo, man. I mean, I
put a 20 on that.
I just realized a watch list is not the same as a queue list.
Correct. One is like you're clicking the heart and saying I like you, and the other one is dragging them into a queue.
Why would they make that a separate thing? No, I'm just kidding. I know why.
Swipe right, swipe left. That's what it should be.
Yeah. Yes.
Sleeper HQ. Let's work on that one.
Did you guys see the whole thing about the live interactive drafting happening?
I saw they were working on it. Did they give a timetable as far as implementing that?
Well, they said they sold their Zoom stocks. So,
that's interesting.
They sold their Zoom stocks?
Yeah, that was the post of how it got executed. Was they sold their Zoom stocks because they're going with live interactive drafting. That's
I see. So it's like video drafting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Cool as shit.
That's awesome. Oh yeah,
dude. Why would anybody use anything else than Sleeper? I don't get it. And they're not a sponsor. # not a sponsor. Why would they do that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like their platform quite as much for in season. I like it for Dynasty. I don't like it for redraft. And
what do you like?
I love their drafting. Their drafting is by far the best without fail.
Wait, what do you like? What's your preferred platform?
I like MFL's customizations. I like.
It's a steep learning curve on MFL.
Dude, MFL's tough, man.
But once you learn it, there's just so much to do, and it's so much easier to do the transactions you want. Like, I have lots of weird, crazy leagues. Like, I have a. That doesn't make a difference. I really I like ESPN. I used to hate ESPN's phone app, and I liked their website, and now I actually prefer their phone app, and I hate their website. But I just like it I liked it more for in season before they changed kind of some of their stuff. Yeah,
How do you guys feel about Yahoo?
Never. I like their app is very easy to use. I have no idea. I only just did it for the first time last year in like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I don't mind Yahoo. I used to use ESPN all the time, and then I took my home league, brought it to Sleeper, and I get some bitching every now and then, but I think by and large they like it. It's funny because back at my first platform before like paid leagues was CBS, and CBS was all right because I really didn't know any better. But yeah, I prefer Sleeper. MFL's good.
I know the ones I hate.
Hey guys, I'm sorry, my dog is chewing on something right now, and I don't know what it is. I'll be right back. 1 second.
So I'm going to take. There's a question in the chat. I'm going to pull up right now. So Miles Sanders or Kenyon Drake? What do you think, Gary?
Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, I've got Kenyon Drake as my my RB6. I just think that there's a lot of passing game work that'll be for him. They passed the ball to the running backs. I believe it was 101 times last year. So I think if he can get a decent share of that, you're going to see him, just ball out in that offense. That's going to have just the lightest boxes with Kyler Murray and all those receivers spread out. So yeah, I love Sanders. I love Drake. Yeah, I'll take Drake over Sanders here. Looks like I'm back up too.
It feels interesting, and I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but Miles Sanders, a question constantly is like, oh, it's his. We hope that it's going to be his job, but they don't normally give it to them. Like, I don't know. Let's see. Let's just hope that he's going to get the touches. Whereas with Kenyon Drake, it's like it's his. Let's just hope that Edmonds doesn't get more than we expect them to. So to me, Drake actually feels a little bit safer just because of that narrative that's built around it. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if these guys end up back to back. The offenses are both great, but for whatever reason, like maybe it's just a hot, shiny new toy. So yeah, well, we have a new guest for anybody that's still here at the hour and 40-minute mark. Who's your new guest?
You just took a header.
We have Chase's dog on here.
This is Bentley.
Dog's out.
What's up, guys?
He just wanted to show up for the last round.
He did.
Is he gonna make the last pick?
Dude, he could, but I already know who he likes, so I can't spoil it.
Royce Freeman.
Kevin.
Oh God, Royce Freeman is the perfect fit in the Shermer system. Let me tell you. Let me tell you about some Royce Freeman.
Kevin, I do actually have a question for you.
Yo.
Unless you were about to talk about Royce, but I don't think you were. So anytime that I'm going Josh Kelly or I'm going Justin Jackson, especially if I'm close to the turn, I'm usually going to try and just take both of them and just, if Eckler doesn't pan out or if they do just try to divvy it up a little bit more, probably one of them will take the bulk of that. And
dude, Drake. You have no idea how often I get that. Sorry.
You look like Charlie Day.
I get Charlie Day on a regular basis, and I can't get away from it.
Man, you're not kidding. Actually, that's you spot on with that. But
oh God,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Gary.
No, we're good. Taking DeAndre Washington there, we haven't really talked about who's going to be the backup there. I personally don't think it's DeAndre Washington. I think it's Darrell Williams. I don't think it's Darwin Thompson either. And
really, it's just a shot in the dark. It's really a shot in the dark, at least to get some access to that Chiefs offense. I've got CH already, so if for some reason something doesn't pan out with him, I took him at 3, and I really, should be drafting him at 3, just so set on the guy. But DeAndre Washington was pretty good, for 4 years in Oakland and not Las Vegas, but those Trulies are hitting a little bit hard, and I thought, but no,
so nobody ever.
Yeah, dude, I don't really drink that much though, honestly.
He just gets sloshed on Wednesday nights with me.
Dude, go back into the Liz Loza episode a few weeks ago.
How hard is it to get her on your show? Because I would love to talk with her. Like, I feel like she's my spirit animal, like to an extent. We have disagreements from time to time.
Awesome.
But every freaking take that I have, I feel like she steals from me because she says it after I say it, but she's so much more popular than I am. God, I love Liz Loza.
Kevin, you have 20 seconds.
Oh, I am supposed to auto pick. I suck. So yeah, we're getting down to the.
Did we just auto pick everybody's picks?
No, well, no. Faith, we're auto picking here. So let's take a look at any teams stand out to you guys as far as besides your own.
Yes. I just want to make this pick. There are quite a few that actually stand out that I am very intrigued by. Going back to, we talked about, sorry, there we go. Screw it. I hate that Dak pick. Dude, I could have had just Garoppolo and Tannehill with my last two picks, and I would have had something up there that would have made me feel better, but whatever.
Dude, you don't even need to draft a quarterback in most drafts.
I know. It's insane. I really actually agree with that, especially in the 10-team league. If it's not like a deep bench, you guys just don't take a quarterback, like honestly, and wait to see what happens.
Stream like Cousins or Burrow or
That'd be so
any of those, Minshew, any of those guys, really.
Dude, Burrow's going up against the NFC East this year. Like, and I think the AFC South. I might be incorrect on that, but I'm pretty sure that's right. Like, dude, that's at least
Tyler Boyd's going to eat this year, ain't he?
No.
You don't like him in the slot?
No, not at all. But I don't like any of the receivers outside of Uzma at their draft position. And John Ross, I guess. Like, but either way, like you're talking about like having to pass for 4,500 yards or so in order for Tyler Boyd to be relevant. If AJ Green is relevant, if John Ross is relevant, if either one of their tight ends are relevant, like I don't hate Tyler Boyd, but him going as early as he's going to most drafts is just too much for me.
Yeah.
Either way, even with that being said, like there's still like options later in the draft in order for them to go there. And I think that streaming, by the way.
Chase, you interrupt you. Take a tight end. Just take a tight end.
Johnny Smith.
Okay. Is that what you're always going to do in most of your drafts is just punt on tight end?
Drew Sample. Let's go.
That's not a punt, my friend.
I know, but like literally
that's a pooch kick, Gary.
You know what I mean though. Like you are you intentionally waiting on tight end in most leagues?
So I'm taking Johnny Smith. I don't know if I'll actually get there because my computer's lagging.
You got Fant.
No, I don't want Fant. 38% of Fant's yards came on 3 plays last year.
I saw that actually. I bookmarked that.
So, or it might have been 5. Either way, it's a significant amount. Yeah. I want Johnny Smith as the last pick, and I'm not punting, by the way. We talked about how Irv Smith Jr. Could end up. Well, actually, I don't know if I talked about it in this episode. Irv Smith Jr. could actually outperform everybody else because Kirk Cousins last year only attempted 51 red zone passes. Meanwhile, Gary Kubiak, who is now the offensive coordinator, although he was the offensive advisor, he attempts over 72 passes per game in the red zone. So, I mean, we're talking about increased amount. And I don't consider it punting because I think that this year, sleeper tight ends, quote unquote, are more relevant than any other year. It's absolutely
for
nuts.
Sure. Yeah. Just the depth down to even like tight end 19 or 20. I mean, I remember 5-6 years ago where it was Gronk and Gates, and that was it. You had basically just put them all in a hat and pick one, and cool, Delaney Walker, great, Jermichael Finley, whatever. Now the youth at that position is making it so relevant to just sit and wait, and you can take a guy like you could take a Blake Jarwin, you could take a Jack Doyle if you want a floor. There's so many guys out there,
man. So I haven't done a study on this, like dive in like into depth, and I don't normally do this. Like I normally wait to get analytics behind things before I fight for an argument. However, we've watched teams go to a pass-happy spread offense, right? Like we've watched multiple different teams, like Sean McVay's, where they've employed 3 to 4 wide receivers on an offense, and we've watched it year after year after year after year. Meanwhile, teams like the Baltimore Ravens have strengthened up their run game, right? Other teams like the Titans have strengthened up their run game. They're going the right way because as defensive backs, including safeties, have gotten faster, right? Like as wide receivers gotten faster, defensive backs have gotten faster. Meanwhile, linebackers are now getting used as safeties. right? Like we've seen Tron Matthew, who's, I mean, obviously the oldest example of that. But teams are shifting their offenses just like they always have to beat the system. And people don't get that the system, you have to beat the system, not the players, right? So as we end up advancing in offenses, we have to understand that you have to try to beat the system. You have to get away from the system in order to beat potential fantasy outputs. In other words, Derrick Henry, who you could have traded for a third-round pick or a second-round pick back a year or two ago, well, not a year ago, but 2 or 3 years ago, is now your running back one because of the system and because of the efficiency that's being output by those offenses. And I know I sound like nuts by sitting there and being like the hypothetical type guy, but if you can find the system, if you can find the relative guy who didn't have output the year before but could have output the future years, dude, you're talking about home runs.
Yeah.
Guys like Aaron Jones, guys like who should be for a new offense, by the way, guys like A.J. Dillon who should be in the same offense. Dude, those guys are home runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we this draft went really well. We're almost at the 2-hour mark, Gary. Damn, time flies, I'll tell you. But
Time flies, and this guy's got to get to bed.
that's true. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up a little bit here. But Chase, let us know again where we can find you. And
so you guys can find me at the next podcast, right? Where both Kevin, right, and Gary are going to join me for the next 2-hour mock draft episode on Twitter, right? We're going to be doing a second one, right, guys?
Let's go back to back.
Well, why not? Yeah, we're gonna go back and we're gonna chain this up, and we're going for another 2 hours. We'll be done.
Start it over. You missed that Noah fan, Johnny.
I just want to bang my head up against the damn screen. I don't care. All right, so here's the deal, guys. I don't care if you follow me on Twitter. I don't care if you follow me on Facebook, but please support the organization that I'm going through. It's some yards are better than no yards. Yep. I mean, we're just trying to help kids out. Like, I have a stepbrother that has Down syndrome, and I know from experience that they struggle when they don't have interaction with other people. It doesn't matter if they're their own age. It doesn't matter what's involving. They just want to be a part of something. So for those of you who know people that have special needs, please let me know if they want to get involved with fantasy football. Some yards are better than no yards. It's at some yards. I would really, really appreciate it. I know I talk a lot. I know I bullshit a lot, so I really don't care if you follow me on my podcast. I just want you to be a part of the organization that I'm building because I think it's so helpful for more than just, the average person. It means a lot to a lot of people. If you guys do want to follow me on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever, it's Fantasy Intervention or FF_intervention. But like I said, I really don't care about that. I want you guys to join our group and help people that have special needs because this is a really tough time without them being able to socialize.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, we'll talk about that absolutely because I want to be a part of that for sure. Anything I can do, especially with COVID, not being able to interact, in the ways they should be.
Yeah.
It's definitely important. So
again, share your post on there from Some Yards Are Better Than No Yards about the league forming and all that stuff.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate having you on and getting to rap with you for a couple hours and having some fun, getting a mock in, and absolutely. So Chase, again, thank you, my good friend. And next week, Gary, we're going to be going through some player props with Samantha Praviti from the New York Post. So
that's cool shit.
Yeah, she just started a TikTok today, so that should be fun.
What's the TikTok?
It's what the kids do. It's
okay.
They want to go to China, so apparently it's backed by the Chinese government. Who knows? They're trying to spy on us.
Okay, that works.
It's 2 hour mark officially off the rails.
We're off the. we needed this episode, Gary. Let's face it, but that's true. So yeah, thank you again, Chase, Gary, my friend. It's
Thank
always
you,
a
guys.
pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. And this was Fighting Chance Live. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will be back same bat time, same bat channel. Have a great night, everybody.
Woo!